Leader of Opposition Business.
Thank you, Madam President. Of course, I listened well, and I noticed the other colleagues did not drum the table for the presentation made by my fellow senator. But of course, I would have retained mine until for some questions are answered. Madam President, the question was about why the borrowing, but I listened to a presentation that at the starting of it seemed like we were opening some facility, very detailed, and then to the end of it, I'm hearing as it were, there is a strategy, an action plan. And therefore I asked then why in the budget to borrow for a strategy and action plan. Madam President, because I understand, and what has been said in this by the member, the Senate, our senator member, this has been echoed over and over as persons who have been around sports, and it's not new. I have not heard anything new to what has been said here. Nothing new. This is really part of what we've consumed in the discourse for years. For years. Yes. And of course, as somebody who has been associated at the highest level as a permanent in her other life, I understand the senator to be echoing eloquently some of the discussions that we have had over the years. But it still begs the question, why are we borrowing so much at this time? Madam President, I support development in our youth. I truly support the development of our youth. And I would like to see that we produce more Darren Summys and Lovin Spencers and some of our great, I don't want to look at you, you're not been, some of our great sportsmen and women. You understand? I would like to see this. But Madam President, this is what I'm afraid of in terms of the posture of this government and the approach to borrowing. We would miss the opportunity, Madam President, to satisfy, and I'm using this almost like an analogy, to satisfy a child with a tire tied in a guava tree with a cement rope as a swing that would do the trick, that would provide the satisfaction, while we keep the child without a swing, searching for millions of dollars to build a fancy-looking slide. And we would have missed, when 5 years has passed, Madam President, on a child's life, 5 years, without intervention. And as I look across, Madam President, I cannot help but my friend who is at this camera, his twin brother and himself, I saw them run. They were very good athletes. At a very early age, they've been on it. And I ask, you've taken office, 5 years has passed. When 5 years has passed on a child's life, it is significant, very significant. If the child is 5 and you've not invested over that 5 years, that child becomes 10. You've missed out on that child's development. If the child is 0 and you missed out investing on the child when the child reaches 5, you've missed out significantly. And I understand maybe the government was waiting to come up with this Lockerbie solution that would solve and would catapult us into this new St. Lucia of sports that would create everything that we dream and hope for. Madam President, I understand that members on this side needs to represent the government and as best as possible present the policies and defend it. But sometimes it's very difficult to convince the listening public on this. After we're going to borrow $40-something million at this time, when you have less time in, you've spent more time in there than you have left to do. And the children who are waiting for the investment, 3-4 years would have passed. I ask myself why, and what was the procurement arrangement that landed the person who is leading this charge? What did we advertise some interested person who are willing to contribute? The government of St. Lucia have a strategy and action plan for sports, and then you put it in the newspaper internationally, and you ask persons who are willing, you understand, to present a paper? How did we ended up with Lockerbie? How did we? You understand? So I'm asking these questions, Madam President. And when I said that we do not, I spoke of the capacity that we lack. And I notice a lot of persons have made use to say that, I'm saying that we do not have SLASPA. Of course, we have certain competencies, but there are some capacities that we do not have, and that it is to raise finance. There's a difference between competencies and capacities. You understand? But you cannot say that we do not have the competencies to build public facility. Maybe we do not have the capacity to finance it. You understand? I don't know which one you're talking about. Oh, you're joining the fray? I know. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. I am proud of myself and my business. But I understand every time that I'm going to speak sense, you're going to find ways to distract me. But that is okay. Madam President, I stand here to make the point that if we're going to embark on defending a position where we're going to borrow that large amount of money to invest in sports, at this time in the life of this administration, let us put it in proper perspective. The motion said for a strategy and action plan. The leader of government business said it is really for infrastructure. The presentation made by our senator seemed to have outlined a very thorough, but a lot of it seemed to be information that has been there in documents from time immemorial. We have been around those discussions. You understand? And I'm saying that it still begs the question, how did we arrive with Lockerbie as the one who is leading? Did he tender? What is the arrangement? What was the procurement arrangement? This is important because he is facilitating and leading it. You understand? It's important to us. And I'm also asking, at this point in time, we have missed out in investing in the lives of our children. We missed out on this. And Madam President, as I close, and this is the last thing I would say in this Parliament for this year, because I will not speak on the other matters, Madam President. And as we speak on our children, our youth, I think we need to remind ourselves, and those of us who go about giving gifts, Madam President, that when we going to consider buying gifts for even children at this point in time, let us buy things that will help them, that will inspire them, that will move them forward. I see a lot of plastics are being purchased and dumping on our children in the name of toys. But a lot of, even the scripture says, even parents know how to give their children good gifts. And I think if we're going to give gifts to our children, we want it to be something that will take them up, inspire them they could learn something. I'm saying to members, I don't give guns to children. I wish I could give them laptops or something, or books, something that would inspire them. So I'm leaving this as our last words, and I'm saying, while we support investment in our youth, we're asking the questions, why are you borrowing, in the manner in which you're borrowing, and if it is for an action, strategy and action plan, you clearly have outlined an action plan, that has been existing for the longest while, and there was no need for paying consultancies to do that.